Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lex and I would absolutely love it if you like the content, if you want to support me, if you want to support the channel, if you would consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there. It inspires me to keep creating and it just lets me know that you guys, you're picking up what I'm putting down. Today we are going to do episodes 6 and 7. I know I'm late. I'm sorry. I had the flu. I know the other girlies be having these videos out, within one business day when the episodes drop, but I had the flu last week. There's just no possible way. So thank you guys for bearing with me. I have a lot of thoughts on these episodes. I'm actually really excited because I have a lot of thoughts on these episodes. So we're going to jump right into episode 6 and 7. I'm caught up through episode 9. I would like it if y'all didn't put spoilers in the comments for those 2 episodes, just for anybody else who may not have seen them yet. But we will have episodes 8 and 9 review out tomorrow. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, y'all, so let's jump into it. In episode 6, we are still in Mexico. We are met with the diary cams there, everyone. And Ramses and Marissa, they let us know they did not get much sleep. Those two have been letting us know that they've been booming every single day. Good for them. Great. Now, Taylor and Garrett,
we know there's love there. We know that there's a strong passion for one another. But is that enough?
Start off with them. Garrett says, look, I thought Taylor, I thought you would have been too good for me. In the real world, you would have never looked at me on the hill, Capitol Hill. If you saw me, I never thought that we would be together. He's smitten with his woman, which is great. But I think it's still not going past me how heavily Garrett was pressing on the ethnicity stuff, and I just feel like there's a reason why. Anyway, it does seem like these two are doing great. Now, Taylor is a little more apprehensive. She says, look, I'm not gonna be just blindly confident that this is going to be easy. I know that there's going to be a lot to it. Marriage has a lot to it. So I don't wanna, just have the wrong impression that it's just going to be a smooth journey going on. So he says, look, I know we're both two really aggressive people. She's like, I'm aggressive? I'm like, Taylor, you knew what he meant. He was like, well, professionally, yeah. He's like, so I don't know if we're going to be able to mesh our highly aggressive professional lives together. I'm just not sure how that's all going to go. Now, Ramses and Marissa talk, and they talk again about how last night was so fun. They have a good physical connection.
I feel so good about us.
I do too, yeah.
So we're gonna be seeing the other couples.
Yes, that's gonna be exciting.
And that should be ringing red flags already, because if all you could talk about is your physical connection, what about the deep conversations? And as I said, especially with Marissa, we don't really see her have a lot of deep conversation with Ramses. Now, Tyler and Ashley, she tells him that she loves him, and he says it back.
That nice. Well, it wasn't nice to y'all.
Yeah,
y'all didn't give me a reason to be nice. Yeah.
There's nothing no one can tell me. No one.
I'm sure I'll hear the same thing,
Yeah.
from other people.
No,
It's
you
like,
won't.
okay, well, I'm
Very
saying.
positive things, but
You never know who comes out of woodwork.
Tyler is smitten. They talk about how happy they are with one another, and Tyler jokes, pod baby on the way. And all I had to say was, we know, sir. We know, sir. If you ain't hip, check out my T videos. Check them out. At this point, Tyler warns Ashley, look, there are going to be people that come out of the woodwork that are going to say that I haven't been nice to them or whatever, but I just want you to know, I'm not that guy anymore. Those are things that I might have done to them, but that has no reflection of us. And Ashley is giving very much, my man, my man, my man, my man, my man. I ride for my man no matter what, because she says, I don't care who has something to say. I don't care if it's my own mother. I am not going to leave you. I'm not going to just listen to what other people say. And child, with the TikTok she posting these days, I don't know, child. Anyway, Tim and Alex, my first note is she's always annoyed with him.
Oh, for real.
He's got to give the.
Bring it on.
It seems like this man gets on her nerves so bad. But then, like I said, I don't know if this is Alex's personality or if she genuinely cannot stand this man. I think it's just banter though, because they start laughing, they start giggling. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's just banter. Now, Alex says that she hates Tim's taste in fashion. Tim does talk about how he knows what it's like to live with somebody because he has lived with a previous partner before, whereas she has not. And we could tell by that apartment a couple of episodes from now. But she says she knows she'll be the messy one, and they talk a lot about being messy versus being dirty. Tim says he doesn't mind someone who's messy, but he's not going to be with someone who's dirty. Foreshadowing for that freaking apartment. Steven and Marissa, they do acupuncture, and Marissa puts a needle in Steven's head, and she says it reminds her of a... Now, she says she was worried about getting the ick from him because once the ick happens, there's no changing that. But she hasn't at this point so far. He said that, like, you know, he enjoyed seeing her in her truest form in bed with her black girl headband. I was like, you mean a bonnet? Like, what is we talking about? You mean a scarf? A bonnet? But he said he enjoyed seeing her in her truest form. He was basically saying that he enjoyed more than just the sexual connection, but like he enjoyed just being able to be close to her and see her in that way. So later on, they all meet the other couple.
See, no one else sees it. No, he's a middle class Captain America. Yeah, like maybe lower middle class, but still middle class.
He's a good-looking guy, but I don't see that.
What was Hannah wearing? Hannah can't dress, y'all. Hannah cannot dress. I have not seen a fit from Hannah yet where I've been like, ooh, Hannah cannot dress. Is that how they dress in West Virginia? Let me not, because some of y'all might be from there. I'm sorry. I ain't trying to insult y'all's state. Now, Monica, when she first sees Nick, she says he had BDE in the pods, but in person, he's so tiny. And a couple of other people comment on how tiny Nick is. Hannah and Nick also admit that they did it 3 times. And even though they talk about how, oh, we're not going to talk about it on camera. We're not going to talk about it on camera. Nick says he has a brand. They sure were not silent about it on camera. They talked about it multiple times. So Hannah and Marissa are talking, and Hannah is discussing about how Nick doesn't want to talk about their intimacy on camera because of his brand. But again, you guys talked about it, both of you, multiple times on camera. She does discuss the dick, oh my God. The duck situation. And I love how every time Hannah tells this story, it gets worse and worse and worse. Because this time, Hannah claims that the woman said, oh, I guess your girl is just a jealous little bitch. That woman never said B. She didn't say B. But every time Hannah tells this story, it gets worse and worse and worse. Alex, Monica, and Taylor, they are also talking. Brittany talks about how she has not been intimate yet with Garrett. And apparently she is the only one out of the girls who hasn't. Now, Nick is talking with the guys about the duck situation, and he is telling them about how the lady he rode the duck with was 60, but she was bad. You know, he's just joking around.
Card of what she's questioning. And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck? Like, this isn't just one bullet point. This is 10 bullet points,
right.
Which
Now, Hannah, he then talks about how Hannah wrote a list of 10 things to Nick that she didn't like about him and just left it out on the table. And it was like maturity, ? Dedicated, ? Confident versus cocky, ? She just left it out on the table for him to see. All right, so Nick and Hannah then talk after this, and
Into the friend zone over here. This the hot seat right here.
Mr. Rico Suave.
So you guys get to grill me.
Wait.
he says that he saw that note that had 10 points. There were 10 different things, and he thought that she was ending it right now. She says that she wants to feel respected. She keeps claiming, like, I don't get jealous. I just didn't feel respected. And I guess even in the note, she called him Delulu. Hannah's self-deprecating. And I've said this from day one. Do I think that the situation with Nick riding the duck with the woman was a little bit disrespectful? Sure. Calling over another woman to do something with you when your partner doesn't really like that. Okay, like imagine you're at a bar and your man pulls over some woman and dances with her. Like, okay, that I understand. But I feel like this is the thing with Hannah, is she is so passive aggressive and childish. I feel like this could have been a very simple situation of Hannah just being like, hey, that really bothered me. It really bothered me when you did that with that woman. Can you not do that again? Nick seems like an understanding guy. We have not gotten any real flags that indicate that Nick is not someone who's open to change. And the fact that instead, Hannah's solution was to write 10 things down on a piece of paper, put it on the nightstand, and then say, read this. I'm sorry, like, that's childish. That is childish. I cannot imagine going into a marriage with someone soon, and you're writing a list of 10 things you hate about me and leaving it on the table. Like, that's so immature and sad. And I think this is where the 26-year-old in her comes out. Again, I've also said, Hannah is going to self-deprecate. Hannah, in her head, believes that this man is not going to like her. She believes it. She feels like a big back next to him. Period. Like, that's how she feels. She feels like a big back next to Nick. So she's self-deprecating and making up situations so the fantasy and the fan fiction that she wrote in her head is true. So she could say she was right. Again, I've seen this so much with other insecure people that I know that do this, where it's like, they will self-deprecate and purposely ruin the relationship so they can come back and say, oh yeah, see, I told you he wasn't gonna like me. When in reality, they don't realize it's the behavior that you're exhibiting that is making people not like you. So anyway, Hannah writes this list. It's just childish. And like the stuff on the list, maturity, dedicated, confident versus cocky. When has Nick ever exhibited cockiness? I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Okay, him saying he looks like Henry Cavill and Travis Kelce, it's a little cocky, but like, we have not seen Nick do anything where any of this seems warranted. And I'm not saying Nick seems perfect, because as I said, calling the woman over was a little OD in my opinion. It was a little bit much, but like, all right. Anyway, so Marissa and Ramsey's after the party, because the party pretty much ends after this whole Nick and Hannah thing. Marissa and Ramsey's, they talk after the party. They're just discussing who they think will be together. They think them two, Tyler and Ashley, will get married. Also Garrett and Taylor. And I found it interesting that they put them two in that. But that was obviously before them two actually had a real conversation. As I told you, Marissa doesn't have real conversations. Those two did not have one real conversation in Mexico. So Monica and Steven are talking, and Steven says he likes how all the girls support each other. They then talk about how he realizes that she's a very good planner. She's very particular about things. Like, she has a type A personality. Me too. I relate to that. I feel like I'm a planner. I write lists for everything. I map out my entire everything because I don't like spontaneous.
It's very hard for me. I'm like, really trying to like, what you have to say, but like, I have to.
You're right. You're right.
Come on, babe.
You're right.
So he claims that he's going to be the balance by staying calm in the in the relationship. Steven is going on and on and on and on. He talks a lot. And Monica is visibly upset by this. She's visibly upset because she can't get a word in. And she's like, you have to share the space. And you know what? I really want to talk about this because one of my biggest pet peeves is mansplaining and men who just ramble. With Steven, we've already seen it where he literally will over explain, and he'll be like, do you like ice cream? You know, the thing that where you churn milk and you let it freeze for a little while and then you take it out and you eat it with a spoon and it's delicious. It's like, everybody knows what ice cream is. I feel like that's like when Steven is talking, it's like everybody knows what you're talking about. And I feel like one of the biggest parts of communication in any relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship, whether it's a friendship, is sharing the space. You have to allow other people to talk. Some people talk to talk, and some people talk, and they listen. And there's such thing called active listening. Because I also hate people who you can tell they're not listening, they're just waiting for you to finish talking so they can keep rambling. When you're having a conversation, you should say a few words, let the other person get a word in, get a comment in, get a question in. But if you're just talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, it's like you get so lost. And I definitely see with Steven, like, he does not let her get a word in. Not a word. Until she says something. Anyway, now Monica says she felt like something weird was going on with Alex and Tim, which is foreshadowing. Hannah and Nick, they get back and they find the list from the trash.
You'd be like, what the fuck? We're gonna be married, right? We're engaged, right? And we're gonna get married.
And they talk about it. So some of the other lovely things Hannah said about her potential husband on the list was actions speak louder than words, respect, because she says, oh, when you giggled when the woman called me jealous, that wasn't respectful. They keep going. They keep going on and on and on. And Nick is like, okay, like, what do you want me to do with this? That's the thing. It's like, Hannah is very childish because this is very high school. This is very high school to like put a note in some girl's locker that you hate. Like what exactly does Hannah want from this? If you have a problem with what someone is doing, get up as an adult and talk to them about it. Because otherwise, what did you expect him to do with this piece of paper that you wrote some words on? Nick ends the conversation by saying, I'm not the only one delusional. I like how he clapped back a little at her. So Alex and Tim, this is the next morning. So Tim comes back into the room and it seems that he slept somewhere else.
I had to do multiple times. And when I tried to remove myself, that was an issue too. If I need my space, give me my space.
That's fine.
So Tim says, look, when we left the party, everything seemed fine, but then things were off. Alex says, I missed home and all I wanted to do was take a shower. He says, I felt shunned and disrespected. She's like, yeah, I guess when I covered your mouth during the argument, that probably made it worse. And he's like, yeah, when you said I was insecure, it was just my insecurity speaking. It's like, I felt very unheard. I felt very disrespected. Now, she said she felt very belittled. He felt that he kept getting cut off. She says what they feel is disrespectful is different because Tim is trying to claim like she was very disrespectful to him, but it doesn't seem like he felt like he did anything disrespectful. Whereas Alex is like, well, some things you were doing made me feel disrespected, and that's why I spoke up. So clearly our definitions are different. Now he says he tried to remove himself from the space to give her her own space, and that was also a problem. But he says overall, look, I don't take the accusations lightly. I don't take calling me out of my name lightly. That's not something I rock with. And he says it will take him a while to see her again as his wife, as the mother of his children. She's like, so are we going to sleep in separate rooms? Still, what's going to happen? He's like, I don't know. It's hard to answer right now. But she does go over and hug him and say that she wants him to come back. So, if you didn't pick up by now, they had some kind of fight that we did not see. And this is why I hate when Netflix does this. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a bit confused about how this fight started. Because I'm going to keep it a stack. If Ashley truly was just like, not Ashley, sorry, Alex was upset, and Tim is just continuing to prod her if she was like maybe upset, and she just wanted to take a shower and have space, and he kept prodding her. No shade, but like, I don't know. If things blew up, I'm not saying it's okay to blow up on people, but it's also like, if the way it sounds is like she wanted some space and he kept trying to talk to her and she just didn't want to. And that's why, to me, I'm trying to figure out how this actually started, right? This is why I hate when Netflix does not show us the footage of these fights, because we're left to like be to our devices. Because I don't know, if somebody wanted space and then if I wanted space and someone kept bothering me, I might start getting aggy. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that's how you should respond to people, but I don't know. The other thing that's confusing is that I think it was Marissa who mentioned to Ramses that it seemed like something was off with them during the party. So I'm also confused if this started at the party, if this started somewhere else. I just feel like there's some stuff we're not getting here. And that's why, like, for me to talk about this fight even, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. We also didn't see the fight itself, so it seems weird where it's like, I can't say whose side was right and whose side was wrong, but whatever it is that happened, it seems like Alex is conceding a lot and just kind of trying to really apologize to Tim and try to get him back, so I don't know. But they had some kind of blow up and some kind of argument, and that's kind of where we end episode 6 off, and we go into episode 7. So, my first note is Ramses love him a crop top, okay? One thing about Ramses, a crop top hates to see Ramses coming.
Members, but I was away from home a lot. I missed a lot of holidays. It's hard to keep a relationship. It's been a few years, but it was a huge part of my life. And all my friends mainly are from military.
A crop top hates to see Ramses coming because he's always in a crop top, baby. Now, Marissa talks about how she was in the Navy for 7 years. The two of them are on a boat, you know, they're taking pictures, they're looking good, okay? Good for them. So Tim and Alex, they have another talk. Tim said, look, I thought I was going to go home last night.
I didn't know the extent of how upset he was until he spoke on it, so yeah.
Because I see that she kind of...
She says she didn't know the extent of how upset he was until he spoke on it. Now, he says he is ultimately willing to keep exploring the relationship because she was willing to listen and see where he was coming from. But Alex does say in her confessional, like, they were supposed to go, or no, Tim, sorry, says in his confessional, they were supposed to go ATV riding together, but they're not sure because he wasn't planning on doing it with her. So Ashley and Tyler, they're having breakfast, and she says she can see herself getting married to this man tomorrow. She says she does not feel like she will ever find a guy like him again. Tyler is talking about traditions when they have kids, because he says, you know, last year I was by myself. I just stayed home and made macaroni. I was just by myself. I stayed home. I didn't do anything. Ashley says, same, me too, me too. If you know, you know. We don't do spoilers here, but if you know, you know. So they start talking about traditions for when they have kids. Baby. Hannah and Nick, they go bungee jumping, okay? And I only noted this down because that joint looks scary.
Wouldn't do it again. Oh, one more? No, I'm not ready to die yet.
Nick, don't tell me that.
I was like, oh, nah. I was like, I'm not even afraid of heights. But the way that platform was just in the middle of the forest and they just jump off that little platform. No way. No way, Jose. So, Monica and Steven, they do, they're also having breakfast, I believe. And she wants to address how in the pods he had said when they get out, he's always going to get her flowers. You know, that's going to be something that he is going to make sure to do daily or once a week or whatever.
Like, I am genuinely in love with you. I'm just nervous about the whole thing because it's a huge, huge commitment. And it's not that I'm second guessing.
She's upset because she feels like his actions are not matching up with his words. Now, he's like Steven doesn't know what to say, okay? I feel like Steven don't really think too deep about that. Steven didn't know what to say, but he was like, well, okay, I guess I said the flower thing kind of more as a concept rather than like an actual thing, but I just used it as a concept for, oh, I'll make you feel special. He's like, look, my family, like, I don't know. I don't really get gifts for people. Like, the last time my family was able to provide Christmas presents for everyone, like, I don't know. It's been years. So I just don't usually get gifts for people a lot. Monica's like, look, I don't want our separate financial upbringings to be the thing that puts a wedge between us. Like, I do want us to be able to, feel, that we could still build that bond and be close. He says he does not want to feel forced into doing something, and Monica starts crashing out. She starts crashing out because she was like, okay, look, if you're having second thoughts, just say it. Like, forced into what? What do you mean forced? Look me in the eye. Are you having second thoughts? Just admit that you're having second thoughts then. That phrase about him feeling forced or not wanting to feel forced, crashing out. She could not handle it. Here's my thing about this whole thing. Steven is not the guy for Monica. Like, this is just it. I don't know in what planet and in what world Monica thinks this is the man for her. Steven seems very country bumpkin, blue-collar guy, very, very minimalist with a lot of things. I would bet you Steven he probably has 5 shirts and 5 pairs of pants and 2 pairs of shoes. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. And I'm saying it's as a reflection of his financial situation. But I just feel like this man is very simple. And I feel like Monica is very high class. She admitted to us that she used to care what school a guy went to, what kind of car he drives. It's not there. It's not there. And, he's not the one. He's not the one, right? I think that the clashing will be huge. Because Steven's an electrician, so I don't think it's that he doesn't make money. I think nowadays he definitely makes fine money, but I just think that Monica wants a guy who is going to shower her in everything. And I just don't think Steven is that guy. Anyway, let's keep pushing. Alex and Tim, they do end up going ATV riding, and these two are riding over this rope bridge in the middle of a wooden bridge in the middle. I'm like, what are these? You would not catch me on any of these little stunts that they're doing. Now, Tim tells her he does still love her. He wants to start anew. He makes this metaphor that the bridge is like the bridge to renewal or whatever, the bridge they rode down. And he does say he's coming back to the room. So these two, all is forgiven. They are fine. So the couples meet up again.
Love the hat.
You like that? See? We got us to ride camels.
You guys got to ride a fucking camel?
Yeah.
Stop. Dude, that's at the top of my bucket list.
Alex is telling the girls about if Tim left, she'd never even speak to him again. She's like, if that man had left last night, I don't have his number. I don't know where he lives. I would have literally never talked to him again if he actually did go home last night. But she does let them know ultimately that things have been smoothed over. Everything's good there. Now, Monica gets upset because Steven... Oh, okay. Let me lay the groundwork. Sorry. So then some fireworks start and everybody goes over to the fireworks, all of the girls, all of the couples, and Monica and Steven and Garrett, they're talking.
Whoa, so pretty. Where's Garrett?
Yeah, Tim, I got you, dog. Come on, dog.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, man. We ain't never need nobody.
Where's G-Baby?
So Monica goes over to kind of like tug Steven to try to like bring him over to the fireworks as well. And he's like, oh, I'll come in a few minutes, babe. And like, they watch the fireworks and Steven never comes. So Monica was pretty upset after that.
So I don't know if you like sparkling water. I'm not a big fan.
But it's okay.
Also, sorry, Garrett was like having a moment.
It's okay, babe.
I know, but
She was like, wow, so much for him coming to watch the fireworks with me. So obviously he picks up on that fact that Monica is upset talking with the girls, saying that. So he comes over and he apologizes. He's like, look, Garrett was having a moment. Like, I just didn't want to Garrett was having a moment. I just didn't want to go away from him and interrupt. Like he just, we were talking. I didn't want to leave him right that second. She throws in that, you said you would make up for the flowers and this is happening. And again, these two, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. Like, I think Steven is very hands off, don't really care about a lot, He says he's chill. I'm going to be honest. A guy like that drives me nuts. I want a guy who's intentional and cares myself, but I would never be with a guy like Steven. So anyway, but either way, I just think that the personalities, it's just not matching. Anyway, Monica is talking with Taylor and then Steven comes over and he starts rambling. Excuse me, y'all. He starts rambling about something and Monica is visibly annoyed because once again, he's talking and talking and talking. Taylor wants to be respectful, so she stays, but Monica does go, I'm gonna go get a French fry, and she just walks away. And of course, Taylor, to be respectful, continues to listen to him ramble. So Alex and Tim, they talk, and they both agree that they are not gonna cook every day, okay? They're fine with ordering DoorDash some days, less dishes to clean. Cool. Taylor and Garrett, she just thanks him for being willing to go at her pace. She knows she needs to go a little slower, and he's willing to adapt to that. So, they go home now. So, coming back. Nick and Hannah, they are in their, in the shared apartment. Hannah says she feels like Nick is the type of person who needs to be asked to do everything.
Leave and go to work. And then you'll text me and be like, babe, I miss you.
No, I love you. I'm just such an independent person, need a lot of space type of gal, so.
Yeah.
I'm excited to live with you, though.
I just have one.
She then says that she feels that she's more mature than him. He says that he can do things around the house as well, But Hannah says, look, I'm very independent. It's my way or the highway. And here we go again with Hannah. Hannah, the thing about Hannah is she talks at you, not to you. I just feel like even with this conversation, you're talking at the guy, telling him, I know I'm going to have to ask you to do everything. Why not just say, hey, let's think about chores. Let's think about who's going to do what, and obviously it can be a little bit flexible. Let's just think about it rather than going to the guy immediately and saying, I know I'm going to have to tell you to do everything. Like, girl, I don't know. I just feel like her demeanor is so off-putting and it becomes very difficult to deal with something like that. Now, Hannah claims that she is more, I already said all that. So yeah. Monica and Steven, Monica, when they get to the shared apartment, Monica talks about the flowers again. You know, they start trying to talk about groceries they need to buy for their shared apartment. He's like, beer, you know, eggs. And she's like, flowers, more flowers. And he's like, okay, so yeah, we also need to get chips, more flowers. Like she is crashing out over these flowers, y'all. She is crashing out. Steven is just ignoring her, for the record. Like, he is not paying attention to her whatsoever about this flower thing. Taylor and Garrett, they look at each other's Instagrams, and he's like, I only work at Spearfish, so that's my whole Instagram. And then they search through his Instagram, and it is just spearfishing. Tyler and Ashley, they pray before bed. Now, Marissa and Ramses, they talk about wedding planning. She's happy that he wants to be involved too, because she doesn't want it to be a situation where it's just the wife planning and he's just falling to the background. Marissa does talk about how she wants an all-black wedding. Ramses is a little more like, I don't know about this all-black wedding, but okay. Next day, Garrett and Taylor, they go to Fredericksburg, Virginia to meet his family.
Don't put it next to these, by the way.
Something for you too. Yeah, no comparison.
So sweet.
It kind of looks a little weak now. But,
No, it's all good. You gave me him, so that's all that matters.
Now, his mom did not stop crying. I'll just say that. His mom did not stop crying. And it didn't just seem like because she was shocked about the experience. I'ma just leave it there. Now, I think his sister, asked about her parents not being happy about it, how that's all going to work. And she says, no, it's not that they are not happy or didn't want me to participate. It's more so that they just don't want to be on camera. But the family is a bit worried because they only really get to meet her that one time before the wedding. Overall, seems like it went okay. You know, the mom says a lot of stuff like, look, you know, obviously it's hard right now to trust, you know, we will grow to love you, but right now it's hard because we don't really know you. You know. Ramses and Marissa, they have a long conversation. Ramses makes some pasta and I was about to call it Brianna. Marissa says that al dente pasta is amazing. That al dente pasta, baby. How you get al dente from al dente is crazy. But that chicken was a little undercooked, and apparently the noodles were very al dente. But they talk about Marissa's commute from Baltimore. I guess she goes to school up there. He does say he's willing to move. She is happy because she says, look, I was not going to move from Baltimore. Sorry. Now, they also talk about the officiant when they're marrying them. And she says, look, anything but a cis hetero male, I will be fine with. You know, abolish the patriarchy, stuff like that. He does ask if she would want a religious, a spiritual, or just like a regular, like officiant. And she says, probably spiritual. Now, Ramses does say, look, my mom is very Christian, which means she would want there to be some Christian elements of the wedding. You know, my mom would crash out if there ain't no Christian elements of this wedding. He's like, at the minimal least, she would probably pull me over to pray beforehand, and that hopefully should be enough for her. Now, Marissa does admit that she grew up Mormon. So she always thought that she was going to be getting married in a temple. She does say that, you know, Ramses kind of asked, like, what happened with that? Like, why aren't you Mormon anymore? She mostly says that the white male-centered part of the church did not resonate with her. But Ramses does say that he does still believe in some form of the Christian God. And then the conversation shifts to her military service.
Always heavily critiqued how the U.S. has sort of just destabilized entire countries. Like,
I support the military in the sense of, like, strategically, we need our military.
Oh, Lord. So she says she was part of the military and it gave her a lot of opportunities she wouldn't have otherwise been able to have. I mean, obviously, she is in law school, so I think that's a big deal. So she can't completely slam the military, but she doesn't agree with what they did to other countries. Now, you know Ramses. He works for social justice reform. He is clearly very liberal, very progressive. So, you know, Ramses had some questions. Ramses says, look, I do not support the military destabilizing other countries. I come from another country myself. The US has put their hand in a lot of other countries' business, and I don't support that. Now she says, look, I support the troops though. Like, it's challenging to be in the military. Like, he's like, okay, but nobody forced y'all to do that. She says, I bet you probably wouldn't have been like engaged to me 2 years ago when I was still in the military. He's like, no. Yeah, nah. Ramsey's like, nope. He's like, look, in the pods, I knew you were in the military. We obviously talked about it. I didn't really want it to be your defining factor. I didn't want it to be your only story. I wanted to get to know you outside of the military service. Like,
It's not something I want you to like be ashamed of, because that's okay.
Yeah.
Like my service, it will. I don't think I.
Beyond that, who is Marissa? She admits that she was trying to be in the Army Reserves, but she just really didn't see herself being back in that environment, so it didn't work out. And he admits again that if she was to join the reserves, or if she had been in the reserves, he wouldn't have been with her.
If I were like a reservist, you probably wouldn't be with me.
Yeah. It probably wouldn't work out because we have like very.
Look, I want to talk about this on like a kind of neutral level and playing field of everyone, because I don't really want to get into politics. I'm sure y'all know my views. I'm very clear about my views and where I stand. Baby, I'm liberal and I'm progressive. But here's the thing. I just feel like we don't live in a world anymore where people can have differing views politically on certain things and you could still be together. I don't know that that was ever a thing. I'm going to be completely honest with you, but people claim that that used to be a thing. I don't know that I believe that. I just feel like, once again, Marissa and Ramses are two polar opposites with this. You know, from the minute Marissa said, I dated a Trump supporter, I'm cool with that. I would date a conservative guy. I would date a Republican. First off, what are Marissa's views? I still feel like we don't fully know what her views are. We know she supports the military, but it's like Ramses is someone who's also very, very strong in what he believes in. And I feel like Ramses, rightfully so, is not somebody who's going to compromise his beliefs to be with her. Like, I don't think that he should have to. Because at the end of the day, if you're pro-military, you're pro-whatever, that just kind of goes against a lot of the, like, more social justice-based reform that I'm sure that he is doing. So for me, I understand the frustration with Ramses. And I'm going to be honest, I do think Marissa is a person that kind of chooses to divulge things when she's ready. Because even in this conversation, you could tell Marissa didn't say what she really felt. Let's be for real. Because at the beginning, she said, oh, I agree with the military. Then it was when Ramses said, you do? You believe in what they did? Then she tried to say, oh, no, I don't like what they did to other countries, but I still support the troops, and the U.S. needs the military because we're in danger right now. Just say your true views, right? You support the military. You don't really care what the military has done in other countries, girl. But I feel like she tried to make it palatable to hopefully agree with Ramses, even though Ramses sees right through it. at the end of the day, these two, I do think political views are a reason to say, hey, I'm not going to be with this person. And I'm actually happy that Ramses was willing to be like, yeah, these are my views and I'm not compromising on them. And if you're Marissa, you should be the same way. Like, why? I don't know. For Marissa as a person, why would you want to be with somebody who's anti-military, doesn't support the military, probably doesn't respect the fact that you did service? Like, if I'm talking about this on a very neutral level, taking my views out of it, why would you want to be with someone who doesn't respect what you've done? Because he doesn't respect the military as an institution. So I think for both of them, it's like, you probably shouldn't be together. Anyway, that is it, y'all. That's these 2 episodes. 8 and 9 videos coming tomorrow because this show somehow got worse. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me. If you made it to this point, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. It helps to get the videos out there. It inspires me to keep creating. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow for 8 and 9. Bye. Y'all, I had enough of these people.